On May 7th, 1922, the following article was published in the press. What the world will be like in 100 years. It's precisely May 7th, 2022 at the time of uploading, so it's officially 100 years later. Let's see if the predictions have come true, shall we? The first topic is food. How did the author imagine food in 2022? Cooking will survive among old-fashioned people, and a great deal of it will be avoided by the use of synthetic foods. It is conceivable, though not certain, that in 2022, a complete meal may be taken in the shape of 4 pills. This is not entirely visionary. I am convinced that corned beef hash and pumpkin pie will still exist, but the pill lunch will roll by their side. Okay, that's an interesting vision. Next one. Energy and natural resources. The people of the year 2022 will probably never see a wire outlined against the sky. It is practically certain that wireless telegraphy and wireless telephones will have crushed the cable system long before the century is done. Possibly, too, power may travel through the air when means are found to prevent enormous voltages being suddenly discharged in the wrong place. Coal will not be exhausted, but our reserves will be seriously depleted, and so will those of oil. One of the world dangers a century hence will be the shortage of fuel, but it is likely that by that time a great deal of power will be obtained from tides, from the sun, probably from radium and other forms of radial energy, while it may also be that atomic energy will be harnessed. If it is true that matter is kept together by forces known as electrons, it is possible that we shall know how to disperse matter so as to release the electron as a force. Yeah, we may have underdelivered on this one, with coal and oil and so on. Cities. Perhaps at the time we shall have attained a dream which I often nurse, namely, the city roofed with glass. That city would be a complete unit with accommodations for houses, offices, factories, and open spaces, all this carefully allocated. The roof would completely do away with weather and would maintain an even temperature to be fixed by the taste of the period. Artificial ventilation would suppress wind. As for the open spaces, if the temperature were warm, they would exhibit a continual show of flowers which would be emancipated from winter and summer. In other words, winter would not come. Oh, how I wish. Homes. Naturally, the work of the household, which is being reduced day by day, will in 2022 be a great deal lighter. I believe that most of the cleaning required today in a house will have been done away with. In the first place, through the disappearance of coal. In the second place, I have a vision of walls, furniture, and hangings made of more or less compressed paper mache bound with brass or taping along the edges. Thus, instead of scrubbing its floors, the year 2022 will unscrew the brass edges or unstitch the tapes and peel off the dirty surface of the floor or curtains. Then every year a new floorboard will be laid. One may hope that standard chairs, tables, carpets will be peeled in the same way. Ladies and gents, do you peel your furniture in 2022? Movies. The movies will be more attractive. The figures on the screen will not only move, but they will have their natural colors and speak with ordinary voices. Thus, the stage as we know it today may entirely disappear, which does not mean the doom of art, since the movie actress of 2022 will not only need to know how to smile, but also how to talk. Wow, spot on. Women. Largely, the condition of the family will be governed by the position of woman, because woman is the family, while man is merely its supporter. It is practically certain that in 2022, nearly all women will have discarded the idea that they are primarily makers of men. Most fit women will then be following an individual career. All positions will be open to them, and a great many women will have risen high. The year 2022 will probably see a large number of women in Congress, a great many on the judicial bench, many in civil service posts, and perhaps some in the president's cabinet. Woo! But it is unlikely that women will have achieved equality with men. Cautious feminists such as myself realize that things go slowly, and that a brief 100 years will not wipe out the effects on women of 30,000 years of slavery. Okay, interesting. Marriage and divorce. Marriage will still exist much as it is today, for mankind has an inveterate taste for the institution. But divorce will probably be as easy everywhere as it is in Nevada. In view, however, of the improved position of woman and her earning power, she will not only cease to be entitled to alimony, but she will be expected after the divorce to pay her share of the maintenance of her children. Okay. Politics. As regards the politics of 2022, I should expect the form of the state to be much the same. A few rearrangements may have taken place on the lines of self-determination. For instance, Austria may have united with Germany. Woo! The South American republics may have federated, etc. But I do not believe that there will be a superstate. There will still be republics and monarchies. Possibly, in 2022, the Spanish, Italian, Dutch, and Norwegian kings may have fallen. But for a variety of reasons, either lack of advancement or practical convenience, we may expect still to find kings in Sweden, Yugoslavia, Greece, Romania, and Great Britain. Okay, some kings in Europe may get offended by this one. Wars. There will still be war. The wars of that period may be a little less frequent than they are today and be limited by arrangements such as the Pacific Agreement, the agreement between Canada and the United States of America to leave their frontier unfortified, etc. But it will still be there. I suspect that those wars to come will be made horrible beyond my conception by new poison gases, inextinguishable flames, and light-proof smoke clouds. In those wars, the airplane bomb will seem as out of date as is today the hatchet. War may ultimately disappear, but this lies beyond the limits of this article and even beyond those of my mind. Okay, no comment on this one. The future of the USA and Americans. Woo! As regards the United States in particular, it is likely that the country will have come to a complete settlement with a population of about 240 million. Those Americans will know that it is practically certain that they will die much in the same position as the one in which they were born. Those Americans will therefore be less enterprising and much more pleasure-loving. They will have rebelled against long hours. The chances are that in 2022, few people will work more than 7 hours a day, if as much. I think that she will be a happier country than she is today. The appeal of wealth will be less, because wealth will be difficult to attain. So those Americans to come will be producing in art and literature infinitely more than they are producing today. Yes! How would you comment on this one? And finally, 2022 versus 1922 versus 1822. I am convinced that in 2022, the advancement of science will be amazing. But it will be nothing like so amazing as is the present day in relation to 100 years ago. A sight of the world today would surprise President Jefferson much more, I suspect, than the world of 2022 would surprise the little girl who sells candies at Grand Central Station. For Jefferson knew nothing of railroads, telegraphs, telephones, automobiles, airplanes, gramophones, movies, radium, etc. He did not even know hot and cold bathrooms. The little girl at Grand Central is a blasé child. To her, these things are commonplace. The year 2022 would have to produce something very startling to interest her ghost. The sad thing about discovery is that it works toward its own extinction, and that the more we discover, the less there is left. Wow, isn't this amazing?
Yes!
Of course, you couldn't be 100% right making a prediction like this one 100 years into the future, but the number of things that were correctly predicted is really impressive.
Woo!
There were, of course, quite a few misses as well. What do you think? Drop a like if you enjoy this type of content, and see you in the next one.